Summertime and the living is easy. Oh, Seth, for some, maybe, but definitely not for all.
School's out, which means increased parenting time with decreased oversight, a potentially dangerous combination for those who co-parent with a former spouse who abuses alcohol.
In situations like these, a good attorney, like Seth, is going to recommend SoberLink.
You're too kind, Pete. SoberLink is known for its portability and reliability. SoberLink allows parents to prove their sobriety anywhere, anytime.
So with SoberLink, your co-parent will get tested at scheduled times. The device has built-in facial recognition, which makes sure it's them getting tested. It's got tamper sensors that flag any attempts to cheat it, and results get sent instantly to your phone, giving you peace of mind that your kids are with a sober parent.
I've been doing divorce law for a long time, and I cannot even begin to tell you how important it is to have a court-admissible system in place to safeguard children. And when I mean court-admissible, it's also an independent third-party instant verification. It's not, oh, I was with my buddy, he wasn't drinking, right? The friend's not coming in and testifying. Independent third-party court-admissible system. It's awesome.
Make waves this summer with the best alcohol monitoring tool on the market. Visit soberlink.com/toaster to learn more and get $50 off your device. Again, that's soberlink.com/toaster. Thanks to SoberLink for sponsoring this show. Welcome to How to Split a Toaster, a divorce podcast about saving your relationships from True Story FM. So you've got a new toaster, but how do you really learn to relate to it?
Welcome to the show, everybody. I'm Seth Nelson, and as always, I'm here with my good friend, Pete Wright. Today, we're talking about the patterns we develop in our relationships. More specifically, how do we break those patterns and learn to be with new partners after divorce? Dr. Etel Leit is a human communication researcher, a prominent figure in psychology and education. She is also the founder of Sign Shine, a family center in Beverly Hills. She's a faculty member in psychology and in MBA programs at Palo Alto Sophia University, that's a mouthful, Pete, and Cambridge College in Boston. Like way too many, like psychology, MBA, all these universities. Here we go.
I know.
She's here today to teach us, thankfully, how to communicate effectively with new partners and shake free of the yoke of codependence, especially when communication was a factor in your divorce. Now, it says her first name, but it's Dr. Leit to me, Pete. Welcome to the toaster.
Thank you so much.
My gosh, psychology, MBA, all these different schools, Beverly Hills. We are out kicking our coverage today, Pete.
Yeah, I know. Outclassed. We're punching up. That's what, as they say.
I'm humbled. I prefer to be maybe not the toaster. Maybe I'm a ninja. That's the new buzzword right
yes,
now.
welcome, ninja. As this episode falls, we've been talking about some kind of heavy topics, and so it's nice to get into some communication where we can really. I feel like we can talk about like how to reframe our lives and our relationships in a way that allows us to move forward in a real positive way. What do we need to learn? I can't let go of this idea of patterns. I'll be real honest. I've got some dear friends that are pursuing a divorce, and I feel like I'm sort of living it through them. And all I can think is, how could they possibly relate to new partners after this? How could they possibly figure out all the idiosyncrasies? How could they possibly learn to have sex with new people? All of these things seem to be like rooted in new patterns of communication. And so that's what I want to learn from you today. Where would you like to start?
So we're going to start from the old patterns, right? Because many people are like already like, dreaming about, some people even dream about the new partner. We're in the first phase, which is thinking about the divorce, because divorce doesn't happen in a day, right? You don't wake up in the morning and say, oh, let's get a divorce. It starts, it's cooking, it's in the toaster, right? It's in the ninja way before, and you're ruminating. And the one thing that people always think about is like, wow, it's the illusion, it's the fantasy. My next relationship is going to be fill in the blank. And he said it, Pete, it's like the sex and the romance and the communication. It's going to be amazing. But it's like, hold on, because before you're going to ruminate on that, before the illusion about what will happen, think about what is going on right now, right? If you don't have an awareness of what is bothering you now, not only in the partner, but also within you won't be able to build anything new, right? And I always say before we build something, we have to literally, just vanish something that was not there. Because if we build something on the foundations that are not very strong, it's going to be the same thing. It's going to be the illusion of like, wow, somebody else is going to come and make me feel loved. When all along the love and the relationship and the communication come from within. And we just learned this pattern with the old partner.
Well, it feels like, I mean, if you don't clear the decks, so to speak, that's when you end up with like 4 or 5 divorces.
Yep.
Right? You just repeating patterns.
Or with another relationship after the other. Yes.
We can end this show right now because it sounds like we're going to teach people how not to do that, Pete, and you're trying to get to my bottom line. 4 or 5 divorces. Okay.
Okay.
We don't want to do that.
No.
But listen, it's like a bottle of water, right? When I have a bottle of water and there is a little like dirt in the water and I'm trying to fill in with clean water, no matter how much the water is going to be dirty, I need to literally go and clean the water first from my bottle so I can pour clean water. And that's the one thing. But how do I do it, right? You can ask me, so how do I clean my water?
Well, let me just say, first of all, that's a ridiculously good metaphor. And I can't believe I've never heard that before.
Hey,
I like truck in metaphors, and that is totally new to me.
Dr. Light, I'm telling you.
I know.
We're punching up.
Holy cow.
But, it's interesting, Doctor, because where you're saying people are in the relationship rebuilding process is not something I hear frequently in my office. I usually hear, I am never getting married again. I have no interest in dating anyone again. Like, that is a common refrain because in their mind, from my perception, that's what led them to where they are now. And it's so awful going through the divorce process. They never want to do it again. And they know the one way they can never do that again is not being in a relationship, or they'll say, not get married, which I get. And then I'm always like, just wait a year till after your divorce to start seeing anyone seriously. And you never know what might happen. And then I see them 2 years later and 3 years later, and then they're calling for a prenup and they're getting married, or I run into them and they got married. Oh, this is my new husband. This is my new wife. And, it's interesting to see where you are in that thought process of people who are going through divorce in the new relationships.
Interesting. So I'm going to break my answer into 2. First of all, it's the human need to be with someone. I always say, and that before the new marriage. So let's talk about that. I always say, we're not pandas. We are not pandas. I don't know if you know, but pandas are soulless animals, right? One of my favorite things to do when my kids were younger, sometimes today on a date, is go to the zoo. It's such an amazing thing, especially if I see a zookeeper. Oh boy, because I have lots of questions. And zookeepers love to, like, they will answer anything. I mean, that's what they do. And not everybody asking them. So I went and next to the pandas, I saw the zookeeper and I wanted to know everything about the pandas. And I was surprised because pandas are soulless. What happened? Pandas grow, they live on the bamboo. When it's time to mate, right? They go down, they mate. The female panda getting pregnant, and after a few months, she's giving birth to the baby panda. She keeps this baby panda with her on the bamboo only for 1 year. After 1 year, baby panda is going away. And again, they're all living soulless. But we are human. We need a human to live. We need a partner to accomplish ourselves, to change ourselves, to feel that we are something in this world. So we are humans who need other person. So when somebody comes and tells me, Etel, I don't want anyone in my life. I don't want to date. I don't want to think about the partner. Of course, because you just got hurt, right? If you put your finger in a plug and you got burned, you will be thinking, a few times if you're going to put it again. But eventually, this need, which you came to the world with it, is going to come again and stick again. At first, there is a lot of walls, and I'm sure you heard it before. People come with heavy walls. By the way, people who saw their parents fighting at home or having divorce at home or not talking or not, and that's the surprising thing, not fighting at home, Many people who saw their parents pretending that everything is good also will build walls before they're coming into a relationship. But the inner thing is, yes, is to mate, to have a relationship, to find a partner, to live in this, wow, I'm giving someone some joy and this person is giving us some joy. So we need to kind of like break down what is relationship. Why do we need a partner? Is it sex? Is it for me? Is it for someone to admire me, which is the big mistake? Or is it so I can give and get back? And then we're going to talk about the prenup, right?
Okay. So what is it? Because everything you've just said, I wanted to answer all of that.
Tell me one answer. Why do you think
that's why. So what are the values that I have in my marriage? It's partnership. It's best friendship. It's the sex. It's the act of building something together. But it all goes back to the first spark that brought us together in the first place, which is each other. And everything else, like we made kids together, we have a house, we've got pets, like all of that stemmed from the value of this partnership that we built together. And it just cascades everything else that you said from there. That's how it fits in my head. That's good, right?
Yeah.
Can I get a grade on that? I feel like that was like an A answer, but maybe
A minus. No, great. You're right. But you're right because the first thing is what get us together is each other, right? I call it the vibe. So there are three things that get people together. I call it the 3V. Okay. So followers, listeners, open your notes. I mean, I used to say take a pen and a pencil, but it's like, no, take notes, write it down. The 3Vs that will get you really, this is going to be the relationship, your next relationship. If they answer this 3Vs and you answer their 3Vs, the first thing, Pete, you got it right. It's the vibe. It's the person. And the test for it is always the scent. If you like their smell, boom, that's the vibe. She can be goddess. She can be really unbelievable. Well, the minute you smell and the smell is like funky, that's a no-no. That's the research shows it's a no-no. That's why when people say, she doesn't have the blonde blue eyes like figure, but her smell attracts you, boom, that there.
Seth, rule on that. Is that, what do I want to say? What's your wife smell like? No, I don't want to say that, but I want to say, do you notice that? Is that a thing?
Absolutely. Haven't you had it, Pete, when you were in college and you were going home for the summer or whatever, and your girlfriend took your sweatshirt?
Yeah.
And she loved the smell of the sweatshirt?
Yeah.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. That's what we're talking about.
I have something even better. A million years I would not have expected this memory to come back. But my wife and I were each other's first kiss in the 7th grade. And then we went to different high schools, different colleges, everything years apart. And when we came back together, I remember the smell was like home. It was like familiar. That is crazy.
That's biology. That's the animalistic thing that we still have, because that's how animals connect. It's the scent. And that's the first thing that you're going to connect with someone.
All right. I want to hear about the other three. I want to hear about the other two, but I got a quick question. What about perfumes and colognes? Are they getting in the way of that?
That's exactly what I wanted to say. And that's why the perfume and cologne industry are making billions of dollars, because what smells good on Pete is not going to smell good on Seth, right?
Oh.
It's a mixture of the body odor with a perfume, right? And some people like flowers, some people like really strong, some people like wood, and it's different. And that it's the mixture together. And that's why men, put a lot of cologne when they go somewhere, because that's what will attract. But when this scent is going to fade, what will stay? The scent of a person. And that's the first vibe. I call it the vibe.
Okay, so for perfumes, I'm really fixating on scent. That's not going to mask. So that's not creating like a scent pretender.
It's going to be maybe the first thing when you notice the person. And by the way, strip clubs, right? The magic of a strip club. All women and all dancers in strip club, they're putting a vanilla scent. Right? That's the one scent that will attract.
I did not know that, and I will go to my grave with that answer.
I'm sure I've never heard that. Thank you for illuminating that for our audience. But Seth and I have no experience with that.
No idea. But I will tell you, we are going to come out with a new NLG cologne and perfume that no one likes the smell of, and have people wear it to cause divorce.
Seth, really? You're going to lean in again?
I'm leaning in. And actually, I'll give credit. That was Andy's joke, and I just said it. He typed it in there. Okay, what's the next V?
Okay. So the next V's are values. You need people with the same values to connect. With people, we assume that if we see a person and we attract to them or they're attracted to us, we have the same values, but not necessarily, right? Some people, their family values are really, really high. It's high standards. Their family is everything to them, right? And some people, their family is not in the highest value. So these people are not going to connect because, and then I'm going to go to the next V, is connected to the next V. So values, or if you go to a restaurant with someone, right? And you see the person treating the waiter or the waitress really poorly, some people will notice it and will feel really uneasy. For me, I can tell you, it's very important for me if I go with a new person, it's either, it doesn't have to be romantic. And I see someone that doesn't treat the server right, that doesn't sit well with me. Now, these are my values and so forth. So any values have to connect these people, because otherwise this is when it's going to be like, the cracks that usually will come to Seth 10 years later because they ignored them at first.
Yeah, right. So, sidebar, may it please the court. When you talk about values, I mean, we're talking, say you take a couple who's ideologically split. Like, is there such a thing as a long-term relationship of somebody who's hardcore liberal with somebody who's hardcore conservative? Can they make it and just not talk about certain stuff?
So one thing about me, I don't talk about politics really strongly about it. I am from a place of origin. You can hear my accent that I really try to avoid that. I don't know if it's values or it's political views. I will separate it just for this.
Views is also a V. So
yeah, we can any view. But I try to separate it because is political views are values or it's something that it's something else, and we can talk about it for not 3 hours.
Yeah, of course.
But I try to put it aside. I talk more about the core values of a human being as they go within their life of treating other people or seeing the value, what is really up standards in their lives.
Yeah, there was the one couple though that Pete is James Carvell and Mary Madeline, who were political consultants and big time
totally opposite
campaigns, totally opposite.
Yeah.
So,
but that's the interesting. I think did they end up divorced? But this is why I bring it up, because as a value, one of the things that I value with my wife, and our value is communicating about hard subjects. And I don't think we could sustain a relationship if there was an entire category about which we could not speak.
So this is the difference. You cannot speak, but you don't have to agree. That's an amazing thing, Pete. You just brought up something really, really important. It doesn't mean that if you have a partner, you agree on everything.
No,
actually,
right.
You don't want to be with someone that you agree on everything. That's really boring. You're kind of like with yourself. But you want to be in a relationship that you have safety. And I'll repeat this word, safety. That you feel really, really safe to express yourself without being put down or dismissed or belittled or the other way around. The minute that you have in a relationship someone that is bigger and someone that is smaller, this is a red flag, people. Big red flag. So you want to be open to talk about things. Yes, and I had in my therapy people that have different opinions about different things. And it's fine, because this is the respect and the safety that I give to someone else, the dignity, I should say, to be and to hold the dignity to be who they are without the need to change them. And write a side note, like how much people want to really change the other person, but we want to get to the third V first, right?
Okay.
So we said,
all right.
First V is a vibe, second V, values, and the third V, especially in the beginning of a relationship, or even in the middle, is visions. The vision, how do you want to, where's your boat taking you? You're on a boat with a partner, it's beautiful, but where are you going? Which island are you going? For example, kids. Do you want to have more kids or not? Right? Are you down with us or not? Right? That's one thing. Financially, where do you want to live? Some people today, with all the applications and people traveling and AI, they live in a different continent. Where do you want to live? Are you willing to do the move or not? Are you working online or not? Where's your vision? Where do you see yourself without the partner first, and then with a partner? It's really important that the person will have a vision without a partner first for themselves. and then with a partner. And this is how, okay, we're going to try to.
And that can change. I think that can change some. In my own experience, I was actually just talking to my wife about this the other day. She was telling her friends that, yeah, Seth married the wrong girl because he loves going out on boats. And she loves boats, but she gets seasick. So she just can't do it. And so that's something that I absolutely love. And if I told her, look, I'm going to go sailing this day or with a friend or go rent one or whatever, she would be like, enjoy, go have a good time. I don't nearly go out on boats as much as I used to because she can't enjoy that. Right. So my vision on that has changed. I'm not upset about it. I'm not pissed off about it. I don't hold it against her. I can go anytime I want. I'd just rather spend time with her on that day. But if I'm going, I go. It's fine.
And this is how you are complete with it, right? Because if your vision before getting to know your wife was, I want to spend all of my life on a boat somewhere and just take cruises all the time. And that's what I want to do. This is my life inspiration. That's what I want to do. Then comes your wife and you're like, oh God, maybe I'll give her, Dramamine and I'll try to convince her and we'll go to the special doctor. And that's not happening. That will start to crack. But I'm hearing something that I like. I'm complete with it. I can go with my friends.
Yeah, exactly. And she's good on compromise. So we bought a waterbed. No.
And no, but let's take it even one step forward. She doesn't feel abandoned that you are doing your own things. She doesn't feel, oh my God, this is his vision and I'm left here and I'm not in his life course with him and I'm feeling abandoned and I'm feeling that I'm not with him anymore. And this is where this crack starts. It's very clear. My vision is clear to you. You're to me. We're not trying to change each other. But the big vision is to be together. That's why I'm going to compromise. Exactly. That's the big vision.
And Seth gets to wear a captain's hat to bed every night.
It's awesome.
Aye, Captain.
That's awesome. And my wife, do you think there's any chance she would ever call me Captain? Like that would never happen in any way, shape, or form.
It's going to be a descriptor after it for sure.
Would you like it, Seth? Would you like it?
No, I actually would not.
Exactly.
I would not.
So those are the 3 V's, right? There's vibe, values, and vision, right? Shared vision.
Vibe, value, vision. Now, after you meet someone for the first 3 dates, please don't do it after the first date, 3 dates. Check your vibe, values, and vision. Now, often people do it after the first date. First date, you can get the vibe a little bit, but after the 3rd date, you really can get who is the person. Give people the dignity, the benefit of a doubt.
All right, but Dr. Leit, I got a serious question here. It might not sound serious, but so many people will be like, I keep picking the same person over and over. I keep making the same mistake, and it's been more than 3 dates. So how do we solve that problem?
Yes. So remember what I said at first? Nobody is going to solve your problem. You have to go within first. You have to seek in yourself, why do you choose, that's the patterns, why do you choose the same person? What is it within you that is seeking in someone else to fill this void that is in you? Because the minute that and I'm saying but the minute that the person's self-esteem or how they see themselves is not so high. I always tell people, shoulders up, feel your breath, head up, put your crown on. You're going to choose immediately somebody else. It's not seeking to be with someone because I'm lonely, because I don't have sex, because who's going to see me if not this person? This is how you're going to attract the same person again and again and again. When your self-esteem is higher, when you really went and did a house cleaning. And let me ask you, is it fun to clean? No. When you clean your boat, your car, your truck, it's messy. When you clean your home, it's messy. When you clean your garage, nobody wants to do it. It's messy. It's long. It's no fun. That's the same thing when we clean the inside, especially after a divorce. First, we have to clean. First, we have to see what's going on within. Okay. And then to be ready with shoulders up, chest kind of filled with breath, and put the crown on, and you will attract the person that you really deserve, not just the person that will come so you're not going to be lonely on a Saturday night. That's the difference. That's the beginning of really pulling into your world someone that is you deserve and they deserve.
At what point you got your shoulders back, your head held high, you're wearing your crown, you're on a date. At what point does your former relationship come up, and how do you handle that?
Oh, so we're going to the next question. Right. Okay. As long as you're trying to fix a person and to look on what they're doing, right? You're not ready. Okay. And I have some props to it. Are you ready for my props?
Oh, sure.
There. All right. Here we go. So as long as you're going to hold a magnifying glass, right? Looking, nitpicking, what is the other person did, especially when you get divorced. And I'm sure you hear it all the time. What he did, I call it the monkey talk. He, or she. So,
Write it down. Write it down.
Yeah, monkey talk. I like the monkey
so
talk.
Good.
I tell my clients, okay, so you pay me. You want to do the monkey talk? Let's do it.
Yeah.
We have an hour. Well, let's do monkey talk, right?
Yeah.
As long as you do the monkey talk and you're nitpicking on someone else, okay, and not willing to pick up the mirror, the heart mirror, that's my mirror, right? You're not ready for the relationship. Okay, I would say, and write it down, everyone. Put down the magnifying glass and pick up the mirror. It's also in my third book, Unaddicted to You. Put down the magnifying glass, pick up the mirror. Once you do that, you're really ready to look within. And guess what? The person that you're going to bring into your life will actually help you to look in the mirror. Because that's relationship. Relationship is not about a person that admires you. Many people choose someone that, oh my God, they loved me. They made me feel so and so. It's about a person that will help you elevate and grow in your life. How do they do that? They help you look at the mirror without shame, without blame, without belittling you. We're like, hey, and by the way, this is what women do for men. I'm not a feminist. Sorry, feminism. I really believe in roles of a man and a woman. That's how that's one of my values. That's why my men believe in the same thing. A queen and a king. We don't have two kings or two queens in our home. And he helps me to elevate, and I help him to elevate by not nitpicking all day long. What's the bad things that he did or I did? That doesn't feel comfortable. That goes into splitting the toaster and a ninja.
Well, you know what's funny about that? Like hearing you talk about it, the way you talk about it, and back to Seth's question, like when does the previous relationship come up? If you've done this at all successfully, if you're really ready for that next relationship, it doesn't matter when the old relationship comes up in conversation, because it's not threatening to anybody. It's just a point of history, and nobody's scared of it.
And it's not you bitching about what the other person did. When they say what happens, and I mean, Pete, I've said this when my former spouse was standing there, my current spouse and my former spouse's husband. We all get along. And I mistakenly called my current spouse my former spouse's name in this conversation. Okay.
Oopsie daisy.
And literally there was like a pregnant pause, and my wife is amazing. She goes, I'm not offended. I think you're great. Speaking to my former spouse. In fact, I've asked Seth very early on in our relationship that your former spouse is smart. She's funny. She's very attractive. What happened? And then, of course, they all look at me and I'm like, I fucked it up. We all know that. Okay.
Who's the common denominator?
But I was looking in the mirror about all the mistakes that I made, and I wasn't nitpicking anymore about the stuff that I was nitpicking when I shouldn't have been. And that just makes life easier. And just think about this, Pete, that if your friend that's going through a divorce is going out to date someone else, and what happened in your last relationship, and he starts bitching about his former spouse, really what I believe he's telling her is all the things that new date is going to be looking for. Like, this is how he's going to treat me.
Exactly.
We're not taking accountability, because the minute that you are accountable to things that happen, this is not about the other person. And I didn't understand that you actually asked me verbatim, like, when do we talk about past relationship? Okay, so I'll tell you something that my dad is not a doctor. He doesn't teach psychology, but he taught me. And when I got divorced first time, he taught me. He said, the first date, don't speak about your ex, and make sure that they don't talk about their ex, because if they speak about your ex, you say, and that's what I used to say. I used to say, my dad taught me not to talk about my ex. And that's simple, because usually men will listen to what your dad said, not what your mom said. It's a little trick, people.
My line was always, when they would ask, I would say, well, I made my mistakes, but let's not invite my former spouse into this wonderful dinner we're having right now.
Right. Beautiful.
Right.
That's what I mean. It was like this idea of when it eventually comes up, it's going to be fine. No one will care. But I do agree with Dad. Don't bring it up on the first
Don't bring it up the first date.
And you won't need to if you've done the work. Like, it won't matter.
The best time is right after you have sex for the first time.
Yes.
That's a good time.
That's a good time. When you hold up a scorecard, is that what you're talking about, Seth? I'm sure that's
right. That's right. But don't say, "Oh my God, my former spouse is so much better in bed than you." That's probably not the best thing to say. I'm just thinking this through, Pete, trying to help people out here.
It's good. It's good to process out loud sometimes.
Right. Not that time.
Really amazing, great point. Comparison. The one like something that can ruin any relationship. It doesn't matter if it's dating, in relationship, boyfriend, girlfriend, or in marriage, is comparison. When you compare in your head, oh my God, Johnny's wife is here, or wow, like her husband is amazing. This is where it starts, in your head or even out loud. This is when you do the comparison, the cracks are starting. Don't compare. I call it the compare and despair. What we are doing, we're comparing our inside. Also in my book, we're comparing our inside to someone else outside. And guess what? Social media, woo! That's what the new generation is doing. We're comparing our inside to someone else outside. We really don't know what's going on in someone else inside when we see them on social media or elsewhere. We don't know what other couples are feeling. We don't know what is the illusion of the best couple or the trophy couple. It's everything that is going inside. That's what really, really matters, right?
Right. So this is, I feel like we've sort of noodled our way into this conversation about new partnership patterns, specifically in relationship to comparisons of past partners in bed. But I'm interested in this, tools that you might be able to offer for people who are trying to break old patterns, right? Because there are just some communication habits that we build when you're living with somebody and communicating with them for 20 plus years. Is that, am I making it too hard by making it a question on this show?
Not at all. First of all, and again, I always give these tools and abbreviation and things that people can write, because I believe when you write it or when you remember it, then it's easier. It's not something that somebody just said on a show. So I call it the 3 A's. By the way, I was in the Israeli intelligence. I was a commander in the Israeli intelligence, hence the ninja. I like it. And everything in the Israeli intelligence is 3. It's divided by 3. So it's the 3 A's. Okay. The first A is awareness. You can't fix anything. You can't change anything unless you're aware that it's not working any longer. The first is awareness. It doesn't work for me anymore that when I communicate, when I feel heated, I raise my voice. Or when I feel that things are heated, I just run away to the other room, or I go to my social media, or I avoid. It just doesn't work for me anymore. I really, really want to change it. It's not that I want the other person to change it, because that's easy, right? I want to change it. Awareness. And then the second A is acceptance. So awareness, acceptance. I'm an acceptance that this is how that's what I do. When the brain is in trigger, and some people call it trauma. I think the trauma is really, really heavy. When the brain is triggered, the brain goes into 4 modes. That's what we do. We go into fawn, fight, flight, or freeze, right? And it all comes from childhood. It all comes from patterns. That it's not one day like, oh, I'm going to avoid my wife when she's asking for something, or I'm going to raise my voice when I'm feeling threatened. It comes from childhood. Okay. Either you saw your parents doing it or yourself. So you freeze, you fight, you yell, right? You flight, you go to the other room looking at, the sports and TV, or you fawn. You're like, oh, sweetheart, what can I do? What can I do? Instead of talking about what's going on. So that's the acceptance, really searching, and highly, highly recommend to do it with someone that will help you do that, because that's the real process. Okay. So first, awareness. Damn it. Can't do it anymore. 20 years is enough. That's it. Acceptance. That's what I do. This is my pattern. Wow. I can see that. And only the last A is the action. Okay. Now what are we going to do? Okay. And what am I going to do? If I'm aware enough that every time that my wife, for example, fill in the blank, is asking me for something, I go to the other room, I can see that. I'm like, oh, I avoid her. I avoid her. That's what I do. And now I want to change it. And now I'm starting to change to say, I'll get back to you, or I'll do it by 6:00. I like when people say, I'll get back to you, but give some time frame, because otherwise the other person feel abandoned. I'll get back to you tomorrow morning about it, instead of feeling pressure to give answers right away. I just gave an example. There's so many examples that we can talk about. And when you go through this process, this is the beginning of real change. Just catching yourself, right? It's like, oops, I love Britney Spears. Oops, I did it again. Oops, I ran away to the sports again. And then the next time it's like, oops, I did it. And you know what? I almost turned on the TV, but right now I'm going to try to say something. So it's the oops, I did it again. Oops, I did it again, until I try to correct myself. That's the only way to change. I wish I had a potion, like something like a magic potion. I don't, but that's my magic potion, just to be aware of it and do it with someone and to be accountable. Like, I want to change that. I can't. Does that make sense? Does that make sense?
Right. Right. I feel like you're the awareness, the trick of learning me, for example, like, when am I engaging in numbing behavior because I'm avoiding something else? When am I, I don't know, playing a video game or eating a whole box of Oreos, or, what am I doing to numb out from the discomfort that I'm having, and being aware and saying, oh, oops, I did it again. Right. Instead of, hit me, baby, one more time.
I like that.
Right. Hey, Brittany wrote the world's wisdom. Right.
There's a song in that movie, A Star Is Born, with Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga. And it I don't know the name of the song, but he sings it about, it's time to let the old ways die. And that's just kind of this saying I have in my head when I see something that I'm doing, like, I need to let this, like, enough. I need to make a change.
And a change will not occur if it's comfortable. People are like, oh my God, it's uncomfortable. Like, divorce is uncomfortable. Separating is uncomfortable. But with that, you can either change your way or stay in the same way, right? Do it again.
That's with everything, though. Like, if you have a golf swing and someone tries to change your grip, it's going to be uncomfortable.
It sucks.
But so you're going to hit the ball better, right?
Any pattern, any habit, it's uncomfortable in order for you to change it. Just like a little sign, hey, change it. How do I know it's comfortable? Nobody changes when they're sitting in Hawaii drinking pina coladas. Like, what are you going to change? It's fun. I'm going to do it, right? The change occurs when
the color of the umbrella?
Oh, yeah. What color?
I'm really tired of this blue umbrella, Pete.
I know, it's time. Let's sit down at the piano and sing a Lady Gaga song.
Britney Spears. The light, we can see the light only when it's dark. So can you imagine I'm lighting a candle and I'm in Hawaii, right, in the middle of the day, and I'm lighting a candle. Are you going to see this candle? The light of the candle? Probably not. I don't know.
Yeah, probably not. Right.
Now let's go to a room which is dark, pitch dark room. There's not even one tiny ray of light. And you light the same candle in this room. Will you see this candle?
It's bright.
Absolutely. It's bright. So you need the dark. You need those comfortable, uncomfortable moments in order to see the bright moments.
You dropped a lot of wisdom on us, and you've also mentioned your books. Would you just real quick, as we get toward wrapping up, just tell us a little bit about what where you want people to go learn more about your fantastic writing?
Thank you. So I have 4 published books on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. I actually had my book signing at Barnes & Noble in LA, The Grove, which was fantastic and amazing and a big surprise for me. Yes. So I wrote 4 books. The first one is actually parenting book. That's how I started my career with Sunshine. It's called You Are My Sunshine. The second one is 5 children's books, who I started to write about a little fish that went to his parents. But then, and the fish asked his parents, where is water? But I'm not going to tell you the end because nobody knew where is water. But then I wrote the book in 4 others. So it's not only mom and dad, it's mama and mommy, dada and papa, and then single mom, single dad, because I wanted the book to be able to every family, okay? Hence values. And then my third book, which is my favorite, it's a novel and it's a self-help, and it's called Unaddicted to You. It's about people who are addicted to relationship and cannot break through their patterns or anything like that.
There you go.
Love it.
Right?
Yeah.
And then my last book, thank you, which is about how to communicate and be in a relationship in the AI world, in the world of social media and AI. It's the new hip thing. People really do not know. I mean, they think that they're going to have a relationship with the AI machine, but it's not really like that. Where as I said, we're not pandas.
When my wife talks to me, I think she would prefer that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
She might. Speaking of punching up, so I think, Seth, we might need to schedule a conversation on AI relationships next season and bring Etel back.
I would love that.
Yeah, I think that would be.
God, that's a whole new thing. Absolutely,
Yeah, we need to do that because it impacts everything. It impacts the kids. It impacts how you communicate with your kids.
Right.
I think we'd have a lot to talk about on that show.
Me too.
Yeah, parenting
Me too.
is changing. People are changing the way we relate to people, but that's the next season, right?
Perfect. Hey, Etel, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for spending time with us.
Thank you.
You're fantastic. And we have to turn to a listener question. Our listener question today, Seth, our listener question comes from Jen. And this Jen has a story. So I'm going to go ahead and read it as submitted. Here we go. Question about the stepmom. I was married to my current ex-husband for 10 years. We divorced in 2020. It turned out that my ex-husband was dating my daughter's grade 6 teacher, so he left me, continued his relationship with her. They, within 6 months, moved her in, and they have continued their lives together. At first, I was, of course, sad about the divorce, happy that the kids would have somebody reasonable in their lives, educated and whatnot. However, as time progressed, it became very clear that she suffers from some kind of mental illness. Often very anxious. She has extremely controlling behavior, will not allow my ex-husband to communicate with me directly. Within the first year, she took over all communication when I refused to communicate with her. They just shut me down and said if I wasn't going to communicate with her, then there would be no communication whatsoever. I strongly believe that she is not a stable human being, and I don't think it's in the best interest of my children to live with such a person. However, with her being in the education area and coming across as a decent human to those who don't live in my little bubble, I am unsure how I can successfully prove that she has no one's interest at heart except her own. Any advice on this tough scenario? For example, most recently, she had been in a texting conversation with my daughter, who is 14, and when they initially started talking about possibly having a baby, which was within the first 2 years of them being together, my daughter expressed that if she ever had a baby, my daughter would want to move out. She brought this up to my daughter yesterday through text, saying that she cried and cried and cried because of this comment that my 14-year-old made when she was only 12. She and the stepmom had to seek therapy after my daughter made this comment. This seems like some form of emotional manipulation, and this is only one circumstance. There are many more, a very similar type of scenario that goes on. What are your thoughts? Thanks for your time, Jen. And thank you, Jen. Sounds tough.
It's extremely tough. And I'm going to take the question at hand is, I'm unsure how I can successfully prove that she has no one's interest at heart except her own. Any advice on this tough situation? It's not about her, right? It's about your children that are living in this environment. So there's two big parts that I've seen in this question. One is the lack of communication between the two parents about their own children. The stepmom has no business being involved in that. Now, she's what I call ghost people. They're around, you don't see them. They can heavily influence. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad. Obviously, as the story is written, she's bad. So you need to set up a way to try to communicate with your former spouse, your co-parent, and have discussions and or email communication or Our Family Wizard, Talking Parents, any other apps out there that we can use to communicate. Rest assured, in my experience, this stepmom will be typing those emails, texting those text messages from the other side. But you've got to set up the communication that we believe to be co-parents, okay? If I'm in court, just by the way, when we're talking about proof is something that happened in court, I am not calling her stepmom.
Oh.
I am calling her husband's new wife.
Okay.
Because that's the connection.
Yeah, that's the connection. I imagine in this scenario, as written, that might be a triggering comment.
Right. Well, I'm going to just refer to the court that this is the husband's new wife, the husband's new wife, the husband's new wife, not the stepmom. Stepmom can be good or bad. Husband's new wife is causing the problems.
Okay. Is there a legal distinction there? She has to have what?
There is no legal distinction.
Oh.
What I'm saying is, in my persuasive argument, what I would try to persuade the judge is to words matter. If I say stepmom, there's a connection between the child and that person. Step parent, stepmom. I want to break that connection in court when I'm trying to be persuasive. So that's one way I try to prove it. The other issue is when you talk about proof, you now have text messages going from husband's new wife to your daughter and your husband's daughter. I would never say my daughter or his daughter. I would say the name.
Yeah.
Look what she's texting to our children. This is a problem. Right? And ultimately, I would ask the court to hold the co-parent accountable, that he cannot allow this to happen. It's in his house.
And he let go of the communication channel between the former spouse.
That's right. That's right. He put his own needs in his new marriage ahead of the needs of the children, and the needs of the children are for the co-parents to communicate effectively together without interference from any third parties.
So for Jen, right, if you were representing Jen right now, given this, what would you do next?
If I represent Jen, I'm going to make sure she's in compliance with the court order, the final judgment. Whether it's a parenting plan issue, marital settlement agreement issue, financial, whatever she's supposed to do, I want to make sure she's done it. Because you don't want to throw stones in glass houses and file all this stuff. Oh, you didn't do stuff too. You don't want to be on the defensive. You want to be in the offensive. Second, I would immediately file a motion, if it's not already in there, to communicate through our family wizard. I would immediately file a motion for family therapy to include her co-parent, and the children. That's it.
And not the new wife.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. There's a breakdown in his house. He's got to handle it. And this is the problem. And if he doesn't get his house in order, then I'm doing a supplemental petition to modify the final judgment if there is negative impacts on the children, and see what we can do from there.
And do you, I mean, is that something based on what you've read that you say, Jen, you should talk to an attorney in your local jurisdiction?
Well, I think absolutely talk to an attorney in your local jurisdiction. And I don't think judges particularly like when new spouses get involved.
Good advice. Thank you, counselor.
Sorry you're dealing with it, Jen.
Yeah. So sorry, Jen, but thank you so much for writing it in and sharing, because I'm sure you're not alone. So help yourself, help others by submitting these questions. Thank you, everybody, for doing just that. If you want to submit your own question, visit howtosplitatoaster.com, and you can press the button that says submit a question. It'll come straight to us. We'll ask Seth on the air and get your question answered. Thank you, everybody who has done that. Thank you so much for your time and attention listening to this show with us. And thank you very most especially to Dr. Etel Leit, our guest today. We can't wait to have her back on the show. On behalf of Dr. Leit and Seth Nelson, America's favorite divorce attorney, I'm Pete Wright. And we'll see you right back here next time on How to Split a Toaster, a divorce podcast about saving your relationships.
How to Split a Toaster is part of the True Story FM podcast network, produced by Andy Nelson, music by T. Bless and the Professionals and DB Studios. Seth Nelson is an attorney with NLG Divorce and Family Law with offices in Tampa, Florida. While we may be discussing family law topics, How to Split a Toaster is not intended to, nor is it providing legal advice. Every situation is different. If you have specific questions regarding your situation, please seek your own legal counsel with an attorney licensed to practice law in your jurisdiction. Pete Wright is not an attorney or employee of NLG Divorce and Family Law. Seth Nelson is licensed to practice law in Florida.